What's new in Revit 2026? Thank you for joining us, everybody. Let me jump right in and get started. So our themes for the features in Revit 2026 are the following: design productivity, model accuracy, project efficiency, some tools to enhance decision-making, improve collaboration and interoperability, as well as a bunch related to documentation and delivery improvements. I've highlighted a few of my favorite features. For architecture, TopoSolids, of course, a new subdivision subcategory, as well as some increased point threshold. So our topo solids can be larger and more complex. Walls without the core layer requirement. Pretty cool, pretty interesting. Essentially, well, we'll get into those. But there's also some new features related to wall creation by segment or by room, some layer priority flexibility in walls, some Forma interoperability improvements, and we'll talk about some Twinmotion family substitution enhancements. So it's chock full of new features for architecture. Some really great ones related to the accelerated graphics preview. So faster regeneration in views. There's some more model coordination or coordination model improvements. There's a cool new save view position on sheets, as well as sheet collection, custom parameters for schedules as well. There's some updates to the data exchange for Revit. For structure and MEP, there's quite a few. Parametric rebar cranking, quick access to analytical model automation, apparent power calculation for analytical loads, step-down accuracy and consistency, as well as some connector preview to the MEP connector editor. So let's get started into the architecture ones. TopoSolid, you know that we're going to come. So in 2026, we see an update that introduces significant enhancements to Revit TopoSolid features, particularly in the subdivision management. So a subdivision of a TopoSolid, the offset parameter now allows for negative values, right? So that enables the creation of recessed elements, such as sunken roads and landscape beds. We can also do some positive value supports for raised surfaces. This flexibility is complemented by the ability to create and apply different TopoSolid types to subdivisions, allowing you to model complex site design without manually splitting or joining. When upgrading legacy topo surface to TopoSolids, Revit automatically creates these subdivisions with materials matching. There'll be a zero offset for the ones that are coming in from previous. There are some offsets, some limitations, like the offset value cannot exceed the subdivision thickness. That makes sense. Legacy parameters like material and inherent contour are no longer applicable. These settings are now controlled through the subdivision type properties. Also, Revit's geometry limitations restrict layer thicknesses to a minimum of 1/28 or 0.8 millimeters. That's pretty thin, requiring adjustments for thinner legacy subdivisions. There's some cool enhancements related to the TopoSolid volume calculations. So when you're subtracting from a TopoSolid, this feature enables more accurate excavation planning, some quantity takeoffs, cost estimation, material requirement assessments, especially when the complex site projects require precise grading and excavation. So there's a lot going on with this calculation. It might be a little deep, a little too much, but basically the new algorithm employs a boundary constraint method based on the TopoSolid boundaries. Basically, this eliminates the inclusion extraneous volumes from beneath adjacent to the TopoSolid, which causes overestimation in previous versions. So it's more accurate and more precise and more stable. Speaking of stability and improvements, Revit 26 introduces significant improvements to link topography workflows. So ensuring TopoSolid models derived from Civil 3D files link through the ACC docs are more accurate and reliable. This resolves prior issues when certain topography files fail to generate correctly, improving compatibility across platforms. So as you can see, it zips around pretty quick. We link in the topography using Autodesk docs. We find the Civil 3D file and we link it in, and you can see how quickly we can navigate around this complex, much more complex TopoSolid. The performance enhancements include optimized nested link loading, so reducing processing for complex link models. There's some additional optimizations, reducing journal log entries, so minimizing unnecessary regeneration for the linked nested models. Some cool, so we toggle on this topography cut void stability to get reliability of Boolean operations for small random shifts. So this helps overcome computation limitations that can cause voids to fail to cut. The changes are documented in warnings in the journal file. So if you are a journal nerd like me, digging through the journal, will see how this stability enhances topography. Speaking of enhancements to topography, we can edit topography, floors, roofs by going into the sub elements and copying and pasting from a sub element right into another type. So pretty great. I can see this applicable for curb cuts and such, or modifications to these elements that you want to copy and paste to other elements. Some pretty interesting enhancements to walls. So the core layer requirement in compound structures is no longer mandatory. So we don't always have to have a layer of structure with a positive thickness in a wall layer. So you can move all of the layers to the interior exterior side of the assembly to ensure that walls properly join. So think of it like a 3-foot wall tile around the perimeter. Speaking of around a perimeter, when we start to use walls, we can place walls by rooms or by segment. So we can now create architectural walls in a room using a wall segment or within the room's boundaries. Pretty cool, right? So you have a little video and click through and quickly apply like a 3-foot layer of tile, for instance. So create walls automatically by selecting an area bounded by room bounding elements. Walls can also be created by selecting individual segments. You can use the tab key to include or exclude intersecting columns. Some notes, though. You can only pick walls that are cut by the associated level when you're in a plan view. Walls need to have the room bounding properties enabled. Currently, curtain walls, ellipse walls, face walls, in-place walls, and room boundary lines cannot be picked for this action. The pick target may be inaccurate when there are two walls joining at a sharp angle. Like, for instance, a sharper angle at less than 32 degrees, it was problematic. Those walls are joined with the square off by default. One can customize layer priority now in structures. So they're not tied to priority and function. So 26 enables the ability to customize the layer priority independently from function for all compound elements. That's walls, floors, roofs, ceilings, slabs, and TopoSolids. So you can customize the layer priority from the element type level using the edit assembly dialog box. You still have to go from 1 to 5, right? So you still have to have a kind of sequential priority. So 1 is typically the structure, and then 5 being the lowest is usually the finish layers. This unlocks the ability to create more robust compound systems. And with the previous feature, I think this is really interesting for interior firms and doing finished plans. Real interesting flexibility. Autodesk Insight. So there's a next generation of Autodesk Insight is now available and installed with your Revit installation. So Insight utilizes advanced simulation engines to provide directional feedback on key performance indicators, including energy use intensity, operation carbon, daylighting metrics, and heating and cooling load analysis. With the next generation, we now have Carbon Insight, which helps you analyze carbon impacts and trade-offs between building systems associated with a model. Insight also now offers a design data exchange reporting tool. So this provides an automated connection between Autodesk Insight 360 and the American Institute of Architects 2030 commitment program. That's pretty interesting, right? The tool allows architectural firms to automatically report project and portfolio performance data with the DDX platform, supporting AIA 2030 commitment, achieving net zero carbon emissions by 2030, hopefully. What's new in Forma? I thought I'd throw a new slide in because there's some pretty cool Forma-related capabilities. So Forma has introduced the new capabilities that integrate with the Revit workflow. In case you're unaware, Autodesk Forma is a cloud-based platform that supports early-stage project planning and design, offering conceptual design tools, predictive analysis, and automation workflows. This is completely in the browser, so app.autodeskforma.com. By the way, there's a cute little QR code if you want to learn more about Forma right up in there. The update function for the Forma plugin for Revit now remains active after deleting linked Forma elements, allowing interactive edits without disrupting synchronization. So Autodesk has also increased Forma's geometry processing capacity, supporting the transfer of more complex Revit models. I still kind of hesitate bringing a complex DD or CD level Revit model back into Forma. I mean, usually it's the building mass or a rudimentary schematic design building, and we're doing analysis on site conditions to then further design. So we can export from Forma, and we can import into Revit, and we can export from Revit and import into Forma. There's also a new Forma board. An interactive digital whiteboard within Autodesk Forma has been enhanced with a direct integration with Autodesk Docs. So what you see me doing now is I'm bringing in Revit sheets directly from published Revit models. You can also bring in onto the Forma board, your proposals and your analysis results, but this allows you to visualize, annotate, and review Revit documentation. So you can add individual or multiple sheets. They come in as images, organized by discipline. This integration seamlessly streamlines collaboration, enhances design review, and improves project communication. Speaking of other Forma-related tools, projects in Forma have now transitioned to sites, introducing a unified hierarchy, better project organization. Again, another QR code, scan that to learn more about Forma. The enhancements related to Twinmotion. So when you're in Twinmotion, you link in your Revit model, you want to be able to substitute those Revit families for more complex and more dynamic Twinmotion elements. So this release brings more workflow stability, smoother experience when using the family substitution. So a key improvement is that all Revit model categories are now enabled for Twinmotion substitution, providing greater flexibility when replacing families with the high quality Twinmotion assets. All this stuff is free. It all comes with your AEC collection, but you can now also define editable dynamic substitution path for storing, downloading assets to manage the Twinmotion library for your whole firm. Since its release last year, Autodesk Informed Design has continuously evolved based on customer feedback, industry trends, and our vision for the future of industrialized construction. Wait. Do people even know about what Informed Design is? What is Autodesk Informed Design? So with Informed Design, one can author and publish building products, right? So building product manufacturers author and publish customizable, repeatable products using Autodesk Informed Design for Inventor. So you can take it from Inventor, create these elements, organize them, and bring them into Revit. So just to kind of glance over this, again, scan this, learn more about Informed Design. Customize and place building elements in design files. Automatically create output documentation for these elements. So these are true manufacturer elements that you're placing into your model. But let's talk about the main improvements. So main improvements for workflows in Revit include the non-blocking replace operation. So you can quickly replace instances by selecting instance variant or generating multiple potential replacements. Minimize workflow interruptions, enable continued work on other tasks. But basically, update to Informed Design content. There's new content, and we can manage it correctly or better. The new ACC bridge integration allows manufacturers to publish the content, so you could bring it into your model. Improved RFA or Revit family generation time, so improving optimization. Again, scan it, learn more about it. It's pretty cool. So here's some new features for everyone. We've focused on architecture and some of the core enhancements. This is one of my favorite. So view to sheet positioning and auto placement. Yes, so within Revit, we can control and save the position of a view, and then we could populate that to many views. And let me show you, and then I'll summarize again. So in Revit 2026, we've introduced a robust system for managing view positioning on sheets. Utilizing the position and view panel, we can now save precise view placements as saved positions. So bang, that one has been saved. These positions then can be applied to multiple views, ensuring consistent alignment across different sheets. So watch how we make a change. We save that position. It's about to shift it over to the left. I'd like to snap it to the corner. Up close. Save it. Save it. Don't forget to save it. Go up to the upper right. Save it. Populate that change. Yes, I want all of them to populate. Okay. Bang, 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 bang. All of the views that share that save position are now updated. The system integrates with existing swap view on sheet functionality, merging the legacy viewport positioning parameter to the new view anchor parameter. We can also transfer project standards and transfer the saved position between projects, promoting standardization across the entire firm. The Reset Title Block Positions tool offers a quick way of reverting title blocks to the default origin, right? So they all have a clean starting point. This feature set provides a comprehensive solution for managing and maintaining consistent view presentations across large complex models. Speaking of views and sheets, a sheet collection in Revit 2026 now supports custom parameters and schedules. So a sheet collection is a container that groups sheets together to improve organization and easier management. This enhancement allows you to add custom parameters directly to the sheet collection. These parameters will then automatically propagate to all sheets within that collection, ensuring consistency of the information across the entire set. Parameter values will show as read-only on every sheet in the collection, since they are driven by the sheet collection. Modifying the parameter value on the sheet collection will update the value for all sheets and title block labels if included. Moving sheets to another sheet collection will do the same and automatically update the value based on what is defined in the sheet collection. This functionality extends to schedules, allowing you to create sheet collection specific schedules and define parameter values directly within them. I think this is especially useful when maintaining revisions, issue dates, or other metadata that applies to a specific set of sheets. When using the sheet collection key schedules, the key name parameter will also be available in each collection. So definitely check out sheet collections. Finally, all parameters added to the sheet collection category support the association of global parameters, providing additional layer of control and standardization. The sheet list schedule enhancement in 2026 expanded parameter accessibility and control. So you have scale, sheet width, sheet height parameters are now available in the schedules, also available in schedules, facilitating better sheet management. So you have all kinds of title block category parameters both built in and shared. They can include and are accessible both in the project and the family space, the new primary title block parameter. But basically, these enhancements collectively offer Revit users more flexibility and precision in documenting and managing project information through sheet list schedules. You also have shared parameters in view reference family labels, shared parameters in callouts, callout heads, elevation marks, section heads, and view references. This update will allow a more flexible approach to maintaining view data across types of callouts. The workflow for adding and editing these shared parameters remain consistent in other family categories. So greater flexibility in labeling standards, aligning the annotation with specific project requirements, and no more dealing with alternate workarounds. View reference enhancements. So when we use view references, this update allows for a more flexible approach to managing view data across types of callouts. The workflow for adding and editing these shared parameters remain consistent, just like other family categories. So greater flexibility in labeling standards on aligning the annotation. And yeah, this is a long time awaited feature. The Manage Links dialog now reveals imported 2D and 2D CAD files, 3D and 2D CAD files. So DXF, DWG, DGN, SketchUp files, AXM files. So it's kind of funny that they're located in the Manage Links button because they're not links, they're imported CAD. So we can now easily remove or show these files directly from the Manage Links dialog box or right-click. The Manage Links button has been relocated to a new Manage panel for easily discoverability, consolidating access across link management functionalities on the ribbon. You'll see a lot of changes to the ribbon and the way that we work. So when we have in 2026, now has an option to control the skipping the creation of backup files for linked Revit files. So if you ever looked in the folder, yeah, all of the backup files for all of the collaborative Revit models. This new feature modifies the behavior of Revit when loading Workshare-enabled Revit links. Previously, every load operation would trigger the creation of a backup folder, even if the link was not being modified. This update eliminates unnecessary creation of these folders for simple load operations, reducing input, output, overhead, and storage space consumption. This is particularly beneficial in environments where users have limited permissions, such as the desktop connector workflows with view plus download permissions. For users who prefer the legacy behavior, I don't know why you would want to, but you can go into the Revit INI and modify disable skip backup folder creation. Some really great enhancements related to IFC, so industry foundation class. When you load IFC files into your Revit model, it's now 50% faster in 2026. Additionally, you have increased control when linking IFC model. In the linking dialog box, use the drop-down list to select positioning option. IFCs can now be positioned in the same datum and orientation, allowed during export. The default position places the link origin at the internal Revit origin. This enhancement simplifies coordination with external consultants using IFC files, ensuring accurate position and orientation of link models, and reducing the need for manual adjustments. But man, there are at least 40 IFC enhancements in 2026. So we're not going to go over all of these, but if you'd like, shoot me an email. I'll be happy to share them with you. Lots of enhancements related to Dynamo. Let's just skim over some of them. So the package monitor includes version compatibility information, improved tune-up extension for monitoring graph performance. Mesh Toolkit is now available out of the box. Python Net 3 package available in Package Manager. I'm not going to get into detail, but if you'd like some more detail on these updates, let me know. Multiple workflow enhancements for user experience or optimizations in the help documentation. There's also a CSI reference values been removed from the Revit contact files. Length parameter, system length, removed and depreciated nodes. For a complete list of highlights, see what's new in Dynamo for Revit 3.4.1. Find out more, could scan that code. Lots of enhancements to Dynamo. Also, the data exchange for Revit connectors. What are they? They provide an easy way to share and consume granular data. So the most recent updates to our connectors introduce new positioning features, allowing flexible loading of data sets. In addition, the latest Revit connector provides the option to load data exchanges as model groups. So you're bringing in groups, not the whole model. Very useful for the data exchange placed multiple times in the model using model groups. All instances of the data exchanges can be updated easily. In addition to referencing workflows, data exchanges can be loaded into Power BI to create data visualizations for quality processes. The Revit connector is currently still in beta, but expecting official release mid-May, including support for 2026. Scan that code, learn more about data exchanges for Revit. This is the roadmap. So there are 3 data exchange connectors available today, 4 more coming this year. So Revit, Inventor, Trimble, Tekla, Rhino, and tons in public beta available for you if you're interested. So that's the Navisworks, the AutoCAD, the Civil 3D, even SolidWorks. Revit classifications, we're making them more generic. So instead of omni-class parameter, it's now classifications. This update streamlines access to the classification definition file. So the classification parameter persists in the project even when the definition text is not available to other users. There's lots of adjustments to the option bar and the ribbon tags. So in Modify, for instance, you'll see a whole list of commands and command sequences that have been optimized and moved over to the contextual tab. So on the left of that highlighted area is Modify, and to the right is contextual. And you'll see those updates and tools that normally would have been in the option bar along here and have been moved up, and greater visibility, cute little icons. So there's also some related to wall functions. So when you select a wall or creating a wall, you have all kinds of configurations for joining, wall joining. Again, if you need a full list, contact me. I'll share these with you. There's all kinds of relocated options and properties for dimensions. But let's jump into the next real big update for Revit 2026. Recap Pro introduces a new powerful scan to mesh capability, enabling the conversion of point clouds into segmented mesh models for customized local processing. What does that mean? We don't have to bring in the entire point cloud, and we don't have to scan the entire point cloud or convert the point cloud to geometry. We can be selective. So Recap's mesh editor allows you to select mesh surfaces within your mesh model and classify them into custom sets of groups and layers, allowing you to clean mesh models before exporting them to various formats, including NWC for the ACC, OBJ for Inventor, and Revit formats. The Revit plugin allows you to link these intelligent mesh models into Revit, improving performance compared to bringing in point clouds. So in the video following, you'll see me go ahead and do some of this. So we can use the add to document feature to import mesh geometry that we've selectively chosen into the Revit environment, or use the promote to family. So you're converting some point clouds to mesh geometry, and then that into a mesh, into a Revit family. So let's take a look. Here's a quick overview of the scan to mesh workflows. Using this new workflow allows you to extract the information you need from a mesh generated from a point cloud. Once a mesh is created by local processing, you can open and edit the mesh in the mesh editor. Then you select and classify objects from the mesh. Once the features are selected, you can create a new classification layer and apply the selected features to the target layer. This select and classify process can be repeated for any objects in the mesh. So this is interesting because we can convert these walls from the point cloud into mesh and then bring that into the project, either as a collection, a classification, or as a group of elements. And then you could do more precise, kind of focused documentation on what needs to change around it and how the design moves around that classified meshed objects. Let's take a little bit deeper dive into this. Within the family editor, users can further refine these objects by adding connection points, extrusion, model lines, and parameters. Recap files are seamlessly integrated with the ACC, enabling the Autodesk Construction Cloud, enabling enhanced collaboration and clash detection workflows. So NFC files are automatically flagged as clashable within the ACC, allowing users to perform more comprehensive clash analysis between the reality capture data and the design models. This optimization of reality capture data in the clash detection process minimizes false positives, ensuring the team focuses on resolving critical issues. Meshes created in this process don't yet support real-world texturing, but Autodesk is working on that enhancement. I'm going to show you the roadmap at the end of the presentation. Here's a big one. Accelerated Revit graphics. It's a tech preview. What does that mean? That you can turn it on, you can turn it off. So when you turn it on, click, it's going to warn you, and it's on instance by instance basis or a view by view basis. And you can see right away that's a much smoother, refined regeneration. This feature allows users to toggle the accelerated mode on a per view basis, leveraging modern graphic components to speed up navigation, making design reviews faster. This feature supports most geometry displays in both 2D and 3D views, including Revit links, while maintaining graphical consistency with non-accelerated views. It's designed as a per-view setting, allowing users to toggle acceleration on or off individual views. This implementation enables incremental adoption to testing existing workflows. So you don't have to use it. You want to test it out, you could turn it on. You save and exit your project, it'll be turned off when you return. Let's dig a little bit deeper at what it's doing. The accelerated graphic transforms Revit's graphics pipeline, providing you with a top-tier performance, optimization, hardware utilization, and high-quality fidelity using the latest enhancements in graphics technology. So from left to right, you could see the enhancements. It's on the right, it's off on the left. When we zoom in, it's all kind of pixelated, not smooth, much smoother, much more refined. So you can simply toggle it on and off. You can also navigate and edit your model within these accelerated views while other views remain unaffected. The selective implementation allows you to compare side by side and adopt the feature gradually. So the acceleration state is temporary and not saved between Revit sessions. Like I said, when you close the view, ensuring your project remains compatible with non-accelerated environments. Should you prefer to turn this tech preview off, go to the Graphics tab in the Revit options. By taking these incremental steps towards delivering a modern, fast platform to you, Autodesk can ensure that this transformation happens while thoroughly testing in the most complex real-world scenarios. It's pretty cool. I've tested it pretty heavily. There are some limitations. So it has limited support for textures and realistic views. Some pattern types, including drafting pattern, pattern overrides, and cut patterns are not displayed. Line patterns and weights are not supported. Annotations are displayed but can be edited but are not accelerated, which limit performance gains in heavily annotated views. What else? The new pipeline supports surface patterns, color, and silhouette edges, but currently has limitations on certain view types, sheets, drafting views, legends. Output operations, so print, export, render will use the non-accelerated state, even if it's turned on. This feature requires a GPU-enabled machine, so 4 GB minimum is recommended. Enabling acceleration of multiple views may increase memory utilization. Accelerating many views may consume a large amount of RAM. Additional RAM capacity is recommended for optimal performance. Yeah, give it a shot. I think it's pretty cool. Coordination model. So if you haven't already played with coordination model, now's the time to check it out. Coordination model in Revit enables seamless integration of external 3D models, such as those from Autodesk Docs or Navisworks, into Revit projects for cross-disciplinary collaboration. So these models are linked into Revit to facilitate clash detection, design, validation, coordination across project phases. In 26, users gain enhanced control over the graphical appearance of linked coordination models, including the visibility of color settings for specific element categories. So as you can see here, you can now assign a unique color to each coordination model, making it easier to distinguish between multiple models like architecture, structure, MEP, kind of like what we used to do in Navisworks. Additionally, you can now apply distinctive colors to specific categories of coordination model elements, so you can dig down even deeper for quicker recognition and organization. Managing visibility has been enhanced from the visibility graphic overrides in the 3D view dialog. You can control the visibility of coordination models and their instances. If you need to focus on specific details, you can instantly hide elements or entire categories using the contextual menu, coordination model tab, or by right-clicking directly in the model. You can reveal hidden elements or categories. These are applicable. Locating and viewing coordination model more straightforward. The Manage Links dialog box, you can use the new show option. Right-click directly in a model to highlight it in the canvas. These updates simplify working with coordination models, helping you to stay focused. Some cool related to rebar. Everybody's heard about this. Finally, rebar cranking. Directly manipulate rebar crank geometry within Revit. Enables intuitive adjustments for crank lengths, angles, and positions. In the past, we've had bend and rebar lapping. Now we have rebar cranking. One can define the crank parameter as a type or instance property. You can dynamically adjust crank geometry based on the host element changes. So rebar adapts automatically to modifications in concrete cover and member size or rebar set layout. Improved clash detection with accurate crank representation. Supports complex rebar shapes, varying crank configuration. Offers flexible and model rebar arrangements according to design requirements. Let's take a look at a little video. As you can see, we can grab in there. The new parametric rebar cranking feature fundamentally changes how we approach rebar in Revit. The ability to define crank parameters as either type or instance properties provides a new flexible workflow. You can see it updates in all views, obviously. Tweak it, modify it. The real power lies in the dynamic adjustment capabilities. So when a host element like a concrete column changes dimensions, the rebar cranks will automatically update to maintain proper cover and desired configuration. This adaptability changes the rebar set length, ensuring the reinforcement remains accurate throughout the project lifecycle. Bottom line, pretty cool, more options for structural engineers. Speaking of more options, in 26, control the fabric sheet wire positions at cover, enhance productivity for rebar and precast detailing. Enhancements for the forthcoming 26 include a more intuitive approach for adding hooks, treatments. It's out now, forthcoming. It's out now. The new start and end bar orientation feature hopefully will streamline the process of reinforcement detailing, improving visualization across design workflows. You could see it right there, the start or an end. Some new connection enhancements. So you can move standalone elements inside the connections. You can use Edit Sketch Editor. You can modify elements, properties in the custom connections. Let's take a look. You can move standalone elements inside. You can modify element positions and custom connections while in edit mode. You can edit elements associated to the input elements of the custom connection as before. Removing elements from a custom connection will no longer delete them from the model. The internet connection will be updated without them. And those elements remain as standalone elements. Edit type for standard connections inside custom connections is no longer available from the outside of the edit mode. To change those connections, use the modify parameters while inside the template edit mode. Steel profile type for beams inside custom connections cannot be edited from the template editor. But you can see there's quite a bit of nice enhancements made and easy to kind of navigate and modify and populate these changes throughout. There's also point-to-point steel modeling. Now this is interesting because I always, the legacy behavior is that it's focused on the drawing presentation, neglecting the model accuracy for usability downstream. In 26, we're introducing a new global option available for structural setting. With one click, you're able to remove all setbacks and make the elements model from point to point. This function works on all existing steel elements in the model, as well as newly created ones. So most importantly, you can disable the functionality at any time and return to the traditional Revit behavior. More accurate, better estimation, and validation of steel elements. There's also enhancements to steel plate default material. The paint area and exact weight parameters are now available for structural steel elements. So exact weight, paint area. Some improvements. This came in 2025.2. Autodesk significantly improved the quality of analytical automation modeling, making it connected and aligned to engineers' expectation. Now this automation will be quickly accessed and run from a ribbon based on the pre-selected set of physical objects. The usability improvement. Still much more to come in this capability. So Robot Structural Analysis 26, coming along with Revit, introduces enhanced support for country-specific design codes, ensuring compliance with regional standards. So that's in India, Europe, Australia, and Canada. Let's take a moment and look at the public roadmaps. Like I mentioned, scan that QR code, visit the public roadmaps for Autodesk Revit, and it'll break it down into architecture, structural, mechanical, for everyone, as well as core features. the features that are in progress, what's coming up next, what's on the radar, and you can contribute to this if you'd like. Sign up for the beta. That's what we used to call it. It's called feedback now. So feedback, another way to provide feedback is to join the preview or release. So you can apply to join the preview and have early access to beta testing of new features and tool sets in Revit. The application does not require a signed non-disclosure agreement. Oh, it does. Sorry, it does require a non-disclosure agreement. And we found in the preview, users value the direct interaction with the product team. So reap the benefits of better planning and future upgrades. Be part of the preview release. Also provides opportunity to participate in Inside the Factory events. Thank you very much. That was Autodesk Revit 2026 new features.